So hello everyone, we are from Design and Customer Behavior /Q and Group 6. So now we want to share about our research about communication and leadership in HIMASISKAL ITS. Next. So this is our member that consists Adriani, Nuraini, Anggi, Amira, and Firsa. Next. The first one is introduction. Next. So here is the background. The communication is an activity that has become an important thing for human in organization and social life. In organization, communication must be well established smoothly, whether it is delivered by verbal or non-verbal. Through communication, we can reduce conflict and misunderstanding, whether it is between individuals, teams, or organizations. But communication must be owned by the leader because of leader has an important role to make the goal of organization can be realized. But in reality, not everyone can communicate well, and many people that don't know how to communicate well, so they make conflict or misunderstanding. The role of leader is needed in this case. In fact, a leader can trigger conflict or misunderstanding in an organization, whether it's from his leadership style, how to work, how to express opinion, and etc. And this situation will affect their performance, so the activities to achieve organization goals will be disrupted. Next. So from this research, the objective and benefits are to know the communication system in HIMASISKAL, to know the obstacle that members usually encounter when communicating. When communicating. Third is to know the kind of leadership figure is ideal for HIMASISKAL in general. And the next is to know how HIMASISKAL choose leaders for both the association chairman and the division head. And the last is to know how the mentoring process and program at HIMASISKAL. Next.
Organization profile of Himpunan Mahasiswa HIMASISKAL ITS. HIMASISKAL FCK ITS is under the auspices of the Surabaya Faculty of Marine Technology ITS, starting from a role and various kind of aspiration that come out of the creative thought of student majoring in technical shipping system engineering and to accommodate all the aspiration and talent of Department Technique of Shipping System student. Then an organization was formed, namely the Association of the Shipping System Engineering Student. And then vision is the glory movement of FTK ITS HIMASISKAL as an incubator of Indonesian maritime work and mission HIMASISKAL FTK ITS, which is inclusive and professional, image escalation and external relation, optimization of member development, and then actualization of job for Indonesian Marine. Next. And yes, this is organization structure, HIMASISKAL FTK ITS. Next.
Section 2, Review of Literature. Communication theory. Communication is usually defined as a means of connecting people with other human beings to achieve goals. It means that communication is the process of transferring and exchanging messages that can take the form of fact, ideas, feelings, data, or information from someone to another person. And to influence or change the information and behavior of the person receiving the message. Communication is a basic and vital social process for human life because it has existed since human was born and it's inseparable nature from human life as a social being. According to Raymond Ross, communication is the process of sorting, selecting, and symboling delivery in such way that helps the recipient generate the same message, response, or listening meaning as intended by the communicator. In an organization, there are several directions of information flow. There are downward and upward communication. The first one is downward communication. Downward communication is the delivery of information from superiors to subordinates in accordance with the structure in the organization. The use of downward communication in purpose for the provision of storage storage of work instruction, explanation from leaders about why a task needs and to be carried out, the delivery of information about applicable regulation and the provision of motivation to employees to work better. The second one is upward communication. Upward communication is the delivery of information from subordinates to superiors. It usually this happen when our employees want to submit proposal, ideas, complaint, reports, or it can be important information for decision making by superiors. The report needs to be reviewed and revalidated. Of course, data recording can be a comparison material. Next. Communication can be done or delivered into several forms and classified into two, such as oral and written communication. The first one is oral communication. Oral communication is the condition of communication that delivered by face-to-face, tied to space and time, using the dominant organs of mouth and ears, even in sometimes involving the organs of vision in the form of eyes. Understanding oral communication is a form of communication by saying the words orally and directly to the interlocutor. The second one is writing communication. Writing communication is communication conducted through writing as done in correspondence activities by post, telegram, fax, email, and anything else. Writing communication must meet several principles, among others completeness, concise, thoughtful, concrete, clear message, polite, and with the correct language. The type of written communication can be in the form of letters or memos and reports.
So the next theory we will use for this OP consulting project is leadership theory from chapter 12. So personal traits and attributes are the subject of trait theories of effective leadership. So researchers believe that a person's leadership capabilities are rooted in his or her characteristics. And we can organize common leader traits into 4 groups. The first one is personality, demographic, task competence, and interpersonal attributes. And the next one is behavioral theories. According to behavioral leadership theory, a leader's performance is determined by their actions rather than their natural characteristics. So behavioral theory of leadership helps us to train people to be leaders. And there are several types of behavioral leadership, such as people-oriented leaders, task-oriented leaders, and participative leaders, and many more. And the next one is contingency theory. The contingency theory stresses the importance of a leader's personality as well as the context in which he or she works. And when certain situations happen, not every leadership style will be appropriate. The next one is responsible theories. So in this theory, we can divide 3 types of leadership into authentic leadership, ethical leadership, and servant leadership. Authentic leaders are aware of who they are and what they believe in, and they act really and honestly on those ideals. So for ethical leadership, top leaders build an ethical atmosphere and expect lower level leaders to behave ethically. And meanwhile, for servant leadership leaders look beyond their own self-interest to find ways to help their followers grow and develop. So the last theory of leadership, we will use mentoring theory.
Leaders have the responsibility of developing future leaders for his or her organization, and formal mentoring relationships may not always be effective compared to informal mentoring.
Section 3, research method. Data collection method. The data collection technique used is to conduct an observation and interview with ITS Naval Architecture Student College who have become the HIMASISKAL ITS organization staff.
And the next is variable death threats. This research study is intended to find out how the communication and leadership system that exists in the ITS Himasiskal organization. This study has some of variable which are communication theory, direction of communication, modes of communication, barriers to effective communication, and responsible leadership. And the last is qualitative or interview. The type of interview used in this research is open-ended or unstructured interview, which are unlike the structured interview. This kind of interviewing is an open situation through which greater flexibility and freedom is offered to both sides in terms of planning, implementing, and organizing the interview, content, and question. In this study, the researchers asked the following question. The first is, how is the communication system in HIMASISKAL ITS? Second is, what obstacle do you often face when communicating? The third is, what is the ideal leadership figure for HIMASISKAL ITS in general? The next is, how is the HIMASISKAL process in choosing a leader? And how is the mentoring process at HIMASISKAL going? And the last question is, what are the characteristics of leadership in HIMASISKAL? And that's all for our presentation. Thank you.